All right, so we decided to do this as a couple because one of us decided that I and my owner possibly a bit too creepy for just to kind of walk up to people and start conversations. It was kind of a joint decision, brief conversation that led to that conclusion. So yeah, we started off by just having someone to the car. And it's just funny because I just very rarely, when I do eat usually, I'm usually driving from one place to another, and I don't take the time to really just sit down and eat and just observe. And it was at that point that I realized, hey, half this exercise could actually just be some sort of just observing the world around us, which is something I just very rarely do. You know, when you actually do it, you just realize that you just never do it. So part of what we saw, like I mentioned before, was this one woman just come and just dump a pile of glass right next to us. And again, in retrospect, I wish I could have just put down my sandwich, got out of the car, and just like talked to her. But I think she probably would have been scared off by me coming out of my car just to ask her, hey, why are you dumping that glass on the ground? So it was also interesting to see how people would just walk by and just kind of look at the glass. Like, it attracted their eyes. People would just walk by and stare at the glass and keep on walking. There's also a tanning salon that was right near where we were parked. Rocket Tans, it's called. And I took a picture of the storefront. I think we counted at least two sort of very fair colored women who just sort of it was closed today, so it was kind of sad. They would walk up to the tanning salon and then turn around looking kind of disappointed because it's closed on Sundays apparently. Who knows why? Maybe it's the same people that run Chick-fil-A.
Tell us your signs again.
Oh, sorry. Gold, air, and brain.
Right.
And then yours was
silver, fire, and courage.
Interesting. Okay.
So between the two of us, it's like everything, but definitely gold being the color, part of the color in the Drexel mascots. It just made sense for us to kind of hang around Drexel. One of the other things we noticed about the tanning salon is there's this picture, and I guess the other theme of today was just for me noticing sort of the absurdity of just everyday things, like even just advertisements, storefront windows. Not really the absurdity of the natural world, like trees and stuff, just things that people create to entice other people to do things. When you look at them from like a standpoint of just like almost like a foreigner, things look kind of absurd after a while. So I took one picture of this tanning salon, and it says "Believe in Pink," and it's this woman in a bikini, and you know, when you're looking to someplace to get a tan, you don't want to hear about people turning pink, you know. And I don't want to believe in pink. I want to believe in brown, right? Because that's what I want to be. So that was interesting. And then even just right across the street from that, there was the Polish nail salon. I'm not really sure which it is, but and it's important, right? Because you want to know: is this going to be? Do I have to be Polish to be here? Is this like sort of a cultural thing, like like it?
Like a Lithuanian pool or something.
Yeah.
Right. What was that?
Never mind.
It's a joke.
No, okay. So yeah, it's just amazing how you think even this nail salon, like they have NAI on the side. You think they would just like either replace the L and the S to make it nails, or just take off the NAI because now it just doesn't make any sense anymore. It's an absurd sign if all you have is NAI. Like it just shows you don't maintain your storefront that well. What's that going to say about your customers' nails? So, question in my mind then. So we kept walking, and so again, we tried to gravitate towards Drexel a little bit more. I can't say we had any really long conversations. It was mainly short conversations, and that's even when we were able to walk up to people. So it was hard, and I realized this because some people have this look in their faces that they don't want to be bothered. They're on, like, I'm on a quest, they're on, like, a mission. And they're just trying to get to where they're trying to go as fast as they can. Either they have the earbuds in, or they have their phone out in front of them, or, again, just the look on their face just says everything, like, stay away, I'm going someplace. And I almost either And I was trying to just be a little more introspective. Why didn't I want to go up to them? Is it because I was scared of them? No. Is it because there was just something about them. And I think ultimately I figured that the conversation I would have had with them, it would have felt like I was forcing myself on them, and it would have felt like it probably just would have been a very short conversation anyway. So, we went into, there was a Starbucks there, right on Drexel's campus. We walked in there. There was a guy in a tuxedo. It was the second guy I'd seen in a tuxedo. I don't know if you guys saw any tuxedo men walking around. You did, right? So I asked this guy. He was in the Starbucks. He's like waiting online, talking to another girl. And again, that's the other thing I always felt weird interrupting is when a guy and a girl were talking, and then there's me and her too, but mainly me there. And I asked him. I said, "So what's up with the tuxedo? You're like the second person I've seen in a tuxedo on today." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm in the Drexel chorus, and we have a concert today at 3 p.m." I'm like, "Oh, so I guess you're on stage. You're wearing the tuxedo on stage?" He's like, "Yes, that's what we do." I said, "Oh, cool." And so I kind of walked away. Then I realized, wait, that guy had a very distinguished voice. I had to ask him. I said, "So is that like your singing voice, or are you one of those people who like you talk that way, but then on stage you sing the complete opposite octave?" He's like, "Oh, you mean like a countertenor?" No, that's not me. I actually sing this way. I didn't know that was actually like a thing. Like I just thought I was making up something absurd. Like, yes, I talk like this, but I sing like this. But that's actually a thing. It's called a countertenor. and he took me very seriously. He like a polite chuckle, but he's like, "No, I'm not one of those people." And so that was it.
Wow, not one of those people.
Yeah, not me. So, and again, most of Starbucks was these teenage-looking, not teenagers, but college girls who just they have their earbuds in, they're staring down their computers. It used to be a place where you could talk to people. I guess not anymore. And so we go back out, and we see this guy, these students walking. They pass each other, and I didn't notice this about the one kid at first, but the other guy pointed out to him. He's like, "Oh, hey, buddy, I see you're wearing your slippers today." And then I looked down, and the kid's wearing slippers and like sweatpants that are like up to his ankles, and it's like, "Yeah, man, it's finals week. I don't even care anymore." So it's funny. I didn't realize that about him until the kid pointed out that he's wearing slippers. Then I realized, oh, that's why a lot of these people are looking very angry and glum and mission-minded, is because they have finals. Drexel has this quarter-semester thing. Speaking of air, we went into Saxby's, which is across from Starbucks. My first question to some of these girls sitting outside was, so Saxby's or Starbucks, like which is it? They're like, well, Saxby's, because Saxby's is a coffee house and Starbucks is a coffee house too. She's like, oh, Saxby's is if you want to, she's eating like some food and you can smell it. It's like, I'll tell you in a second. She's like, Saxby's, you come to Saxby's if you want food. Starbucks is probably better for coffee. I said, oh, so Saxby's, like, what kind of food? Like, you mean like kind of like American sort of junk food? I almost said that, but I didn't want to say junk food that way because she was probably eating the same junk food I was going to refer to. I had to like stop myself because I don't want to just offend her after she answered my question. But again, like you can just tell some people they answer your question and then they give you these bodily cues that they don't really want any more questions. I don't know if you guys got any of that at all. So we walked into Saxby's and like the place kind of had smoke in it, right? Remember? And like she went up to the person at the counter and was like, "Hey, is something burning?" The lady was just like,
I was gonna ask how to eat it.
So they don't throw it out, She doesn't want food to be thrown out. But it was like a haze in the whole room. So it was, I don't know if you guys ever walked in Saxby's here, but yeah, it's hazy in the room. It's weird. And she's like, "No, we just have an old stove." And I'm just like,
wow. It's completely full of smoke. It's almost burning.
Yeah. And it's like, you just have to feel it's always like this. And you guys are all at risk for something nasty down the road. People like, your law firm is going to be talking about, did you ever work at Saxby's 20 years ago? Call the law offices of Joey Dope. This is not a joke. And I said, hey, if I brought in...
And this is the doctor that we're suing who discovered it but didn't reveal it to people.
It's funny, there's a commercial about that right now. Trial lawyers. Anyway, talk about synchronicity, right? So I go up to her. I go up to the same lady. I said, "So if I brought my pet canary in here," she's like, "Nah, not unless it's like a really resilient bird." I'm like, "Thanks." Like, they don't even care.
That's a good
I was
answer,
trying to be
though.
subtle with it.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's a good answer.
so we walked out of Saxby's because she she didn't have an inhaler with her. And we kept walking, and again, it's all these teeny bopper kids just all scurrying around, off to study for their upcoming exams. And then there's one gentleman who looked to be about in his 30s or something. So I just went up to him and I just said, "Hey, so you don't look like you." I said, "You look about as out of place here as we do." I said, "You go here?" He's like, "No." He's like, "Yeah, actually, I'm a grad student." I said, "Oh, in what?" He said, "English." I said, "Oh, you're getting your PhD or something?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." And for a second, I had this brain fart. These really embarrassing brain farts where you're just like, what could I have said? I said, "Oh, I didn't know English people had PhDs." And I'm just like, and I went with it. I didn't even immediately realize it. I just said, "I didn't know you had PhDs in English." And he was very polite about it. He said, "Yeah, we do." He said, "There's PhDs in everything." And it still took me a while to register because I've been out of college that long, and the only PhDs I've been interacting with have been in the science labs and stuff. So I'm just like, "Oh, like, what do you guys research? Do you guys research something? Do you guys oh my god, it was painful, because he didn't even seem to understand my confusion." So I was like, okay, and then it clicked with me. I'm like, "Oh, PhDs, right? You guys are the ones that sort of run colleges, like you guys." Professors, you guys run the show. He's like, yeah. I'm like, "Okay, I get it now. PhD English. Okay." So thankfully he didn't end the conversation and walk away right then and there, which just goes to show that's just an extra stitch. You just do an extra stitch in the quill, right? And you just keep moving along. So come to find out, we asked him, "Okay, so what's your main area of focus?" And he started talking about how he's mainly focused on African American writers of the 20th century, specifically Caribbean writers. And I'm just like, okay, well, here's the part where he gets a blank stare from me, blank stare from her. We shake hands, we part our own ways. But you asked which people specifically, and he said, "Oh, last name Shakur, first name being Sade
Totally different.
Sade Shakur, otherwise known as." And then she's like, she was in the Black Power movement in the 1970s. Had some criminal issues in the States. Escaped to Cuba as a fugitive.
Joanne Chesimard.
Exactly. And I said, "Oh, that sounds like Joanne Chesimard." And he's like, "Actually, that was her. Yes, that was her original name. She changed it to something Shakur." Right. And he said, "Yeah." He's like, "How'd you know the name?" I said, "Well, I'm from East Brunswick, New Jersey." He's like, "Oh, that's how you know." Because he knows, having studied her, that the thing that she did to make her a fugitive was she allegedly shot a cop right in my hometown, coming off the New Jersey Turnpike, which is now a bridge named after that cop back in the 70s. So I heard about this, and we started talking about how the reason why you can't have your windows tinted in Jersey in the driver's side window and the passenger side window is because of that situation back in the 70s. She had her windows tinted. The cop was walking up to the car. He couldn't see that she had a shotgun ready, and she rolled down the window, and again, the story goes, that's how he was shot. So that led into a conversation about how he was saying that there may have been her friend in the car may have done the shooting, and the reason why she left was because she wouldn't have gotten a fair trial. Not as a black woman, not in the 1970s, not for a crime like killing a cop. So she was almost like, it got me thinking, yeah, if I was her, I would have escaped the country too, whether it was me or was my friend. And it just, that was a conversation, and then he asked me, "So what are you kind of doing here?" I said, "Well, I was hoping you wouldn't ask that question because no one else has so far." Because I almost feel like if I told him that I was doing this as an improv thing, it would have made the conversation seem a little bit less genuine.
Sure.
And then you took a really long time to answer, and then he just started to seem to get a little creeped out because you were smiling. And then he said,
Then
what
you
do
answered.
he said, "So what are you doing, auditioning for a strip joint or something?" And
yeah,
then I
he
answered
said-
and gave him the actual. So you were just like, "Well, I was hoping you didn't ask," and we went on a very long time.
It wasn't that long. I hemmed and hawed a little bit, yes. And it's like, "Yeah, you cruising around for a strip joint around here or something?" I said, "No, I just go to a frat party if I wanted that." But anyway, so he actually may come out with us one of these days, because he said that as an English professor to be, he realized that improv would be a good thing for him. And actually, I mentioned about you how we did the exercise and how you had a little bit of a block there, and he understood it. He's like, yeah, because he said the English people are all about finding the exact words for things, and I said that's exactly what Our Lady said. So it was just cool. So I took down his email address. I'm going to send him the links for our meetup group, and he lives in the area anyway.
There are no accidents.
So I think that was the main thing. Oh, we met a Bernie Sanders supporter. Two college students walking down, one wearing slippers.
The Drexel Dragon thing. I thought it was a pretty bizarre mascot to have a school, a non-existent animal, or present day.
A mythological creature. You
Mythological.
We don't know that they're
present
totally
day,
non-existent.
present day non-existent animal. So there were two guys walking by, and I asked them, "So what do you know about this Drexel Dragon thing? Why is it called a dragon?" And we started talking to them a little bit about it, and they said,
It's a statue, apparently. It's a statue of a dragon somewhere on Drexel's campus. His name is Mario, and it's apparently
Mario the
named
Dragon. Mario the Magnificent.
Oh, you know about? Did you go to Drexel? Oh, is it okay?
And we found out a few minutes later that one of the kids studies dinosaurs. Actually, so he studies
The guy wearing the Bernie
muscle
Sanders shirt.
muscle of dinosaurs and things like that.
He's a
He was a
3D
good person to
graphics.
ask
Yeah.
about the dragon.
He creates 3D graphics of he's working on the biggest dinosaur ever discovered, which he showed me the proportions, like 2 stories at the shoulder and 50 feet long neck, and he does 3D rendering of it, and he's working with a paleontologist to come up with how the dinosaur may have moved.
Wow.
And I said, so you're gonna bust into any Trump rallies anytime soon? He's like, no. I think he found that funny, but I said I'd join you. But anyway, so yeah, nice guys. We walked him over to Taco Bell, and I think those are the keys. I think. Everything
Excellent.
Yeah.
And tell us your signs again.
Gold, air, and brain.
Interesting.
Yours was?
Very
Silver,
interesting.
fire, and
Right. And so was that the story for both of you, or do you have your own additional?
yeah. I mean, he likes taking the show.
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
But for me, like, courage symbolizes the fact that I wanted to go out of my comfort zone a little more and strike up these conversations with people, which I did. That was difficult for me.
Interesting. I mean, if you notice in The Wizard of Oz, you're leaving here?
I am.
We'll be
Sorry, I
until
don't
we'll
want to be a
talk.
distraction. Yeah.
That's fine. All
See
right.
ya.
man.
Love everybody.
care.
We'll catch everybody soon.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to be a distraction.
No, it's okay. Don't
I
worry
got all
about
your
it.
stories. now.
Hope everything
No,
goes good.
we'll have all of the stories.
Seriously.
See you guys.
Take care.
And so please continue. If there was anything else.
He basically summarized everything else.
Well, talk about how like in the beginning we were having a little bit of actually we had some
we have differing opinions. We have different personalities in some aspects.
Oh, really? You do? It's amazing.
Yeah. So he wanted to stick together the whole time, and his goal was he's very like puts everything out there, and his thinking of the meaning of the quest was to go out and just start conversations with every person he bumped into, literally just talk
Right.
all the time. But my thinking was, let me go around and kind of observe and look at things differently with this new skill set you've given us and try to see connections where I didn't see connections before. And part of me was torn because I wouldn't have been able to do that as well if he's constantly jabbering in my ear the entire time.
Now, please notice, I did not necessarily care whether you did it together or separately, but you see that there are definite advantages to
Yeah,
both.
it's different. But I went along with him. I was able to do a little bit of the observing I wanted, but not as much. But it forced me to go outside my comfort zone and start these conversations with people I wouldn't have started conversations with otherwise.
I think next time we do the quest, we should do it all in a group. If you remember in the movie Take the Money and Run with Woody Allen, all these escapees from a prison are all chained together, and they all move together everywhere they go, no matter where they go. So maybe we should do that next
I
time.
was really thinking that because I think there's definitely a multiplied group courage dynamic. And yes, granted, it robs us of the ability to really practice being creators on our own. But at the same time, I think it's a good place to start meeting with a group. You start
Right.
stepping out of your comfort zone together. We see some of each other do it first, and we model it for each other. And it becomes like, oh, hey, that's not that bad. And I think when you are a group, people will be more I think, it's just a theory of mine, that people will be more likely to talk to a group more than just... I mean, you guys can disagree with me. I just feel like as a single minority guy walking in Philly, I just didn't feel like people were really wanting, especially as a slightly older guy in a college campus area. I just feel like people would have looked at me and not really wanted to talk to me. So I feel like she sort of was the
I was your photo.
She was the beard.
Yes.
beard.
That's the thing. If a gay guy has a woman with him, they call it a beard. So it's an old-fashioned term. It's like
Back when
rough,
men
like they
were not out about
yeah,
their
they would
Okay.
say the beard
gender
was-
preferences.
They would
Like-
call it that. But
like,
like I'm gay, but I have this woman with me, so you don't think I'm
Think-
gay. But
Why is it a beard?
Think Lois.
it's a disguise. Like,
Think Lois Lane for Superman. I
Gotcha.
have Superman, and Lois Lane was his beard. No.
Gotcha. I would have called her. She's like my puppy.
Your puppy.
You know, like if you want to
Ice
see, have
cream.
a
Yeah.
puppy. You have a puppy with you. And so anyway, so I
So-
think it worked out better.
So what's interesting
Yeah,
here?
exactly. I like that.
What's interesting here is observation. Is perhaps thinking that maybe you should have gone off on your own, separate to initiate your courage, staying
Yes.
with, staying
Yeah.
with, certainly
That's
to
partly why
separate,
I wanted
to
to
separate.
do my own stuff.
Number one. Number two, which I find very an interesting observation here, is there's this seeming contradictory dichotomy. If a chain is only as strong as its weakest link, we only have justice in America if there's justice for the last person that's in the back of the line, right? I mean, that's the meaning of justice to me. Now, at the same time, there's also strength in numbers, right? The person who is can be emboldened by the group dynamic of saying yes, yeah, we should do that, and gets emboldened. So there's this obvious dichotomy that is contradictory clearly here. So it's great. Give him a hand. Thank you very, very much.